Welcome back to the channel, gang. It's your boy Fit Like Chris, and I feel like we are really getting it out the mud today. As you can see, I'm in the back seat of the whip, and I'm actually on my lunch break, but that's besides the point. The reason that I'm here shooting this video today is because I want to have a conversation with you about self-sabotage, and I want to talk about the thermostat. So we as human beings, we have this built-in thermostat of expectations of what we expect out of ourselves. Now, this thermostat is what influences our decisions, and it makes it difficult to actually change. Change is so difficult because we're used to being a person that we've always been, time and time again, and we're habitually who we are. Even if it's not who we want to be anymore, it's difficult to change certain characteristics. We may make a quick adjustment, begin to see new results, or feel feelings that we haven't felt before, and subconsciously we cool ourselves back down. The same way a thermostat will cool your crib down if it gets too hot. We do that to ourselves because we're now in unfamiliar territory. And this is something that I actually found myself doing with myself recently. I was cooling myself off. I realized a new level of success, a new level of thought. I kind of had my shit together, and subconsciously I started to sabotage it. I started to crave comfort even more. I started to, just get off of my path, and I was like, wait, hold up, like something ain't right. When you begin to self-sabotage yourself, it feels like you're in quicksand. Excuse me. Feels like you're in quicksand. You're trying to move forward, but instead of moving forward, you're sinking, and it's not a good feeling. And with a lot of people, they fight against that feeling so much and so vehemently that eventually they just succumb to it, and the thermostat takes over, and it brings you back down to this cooler level or this lower level of thinking. And then you start to cycle again. You're going to have the next idea. You're going to act on it. You're going to heat up. When you heat up, you begin to see, feel, and experience new things. Thermostat once again takes over. So with that being said, gang, in this video, I want to talk about identifying that your thermostat is kicking in, that self-sabotage is beginning to kick in. And I also want to talk about ways to alleviate or fix the situation. So I have 5 of each that I want to share with you. And whatever fits in your life, whatever you think you can implement. And whatever you don't, just throw that shit away. This video is just meant to be a guide for you. So we're going to start out in this video with 5 signs that self-sabotage is beginning to form in your life. So sign number 1 is that procrastination begins to kick in. So maybe you've been living your life on a schedule, and let's just use the building a business example. You're building a business and you're living your life on a schedule. You're taking all the action that you need to take, and you're starting to get new results. People are beginning to notice, and you're beginning to feel good about yourself and everything that you're doing, right? But when you realize that, all of a sudden you just start to maybe push things off. Maybe you were ahead of the curve as far as dropping your content goes. You're ahead of the curve. You're like a week ahead, and you feel like you could take a breath because you're ahead now. So why do you have to keep your head down grinding the way you were when you had nothing? And you begin to push things off. Remember that how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you're procrastinating in one area of your life, it's guaranteed to be affecting another area, if not every other area of your life. Number 2 of ways to know that self-sabotage is kicking in, we mentioned it earlier in the video, is that you start to seek comfort. And when you start to feel the pressure that you've been living under each and every day, you start to feel that pressure some more. You just want to go back to your comfort, and your comfort is a couple of floors down. You feel me? You can't be up here comfortable. So you gotta hit the steps, and you gotta go down to the basement and you begin to seek that comfort. Maybe that's you playing a game. Maybe it's doing drugs, smoking weed, drinking alcohol, talking to random hoes that you really don't give a damn about, but you need some sort of comfort and immediate validation in your life. Stay away from the comfort. You got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. If you can make that your comfortable place, then you don't have to worry about this one. Number 3 on the list is the negative self-talk. Now, the negative self-talk is an interesting one. The negative self-talk is one that the self-talk is not always towards you. You're not like, oh my God, I suck. Maybe the negative self-talk doesn't come out that way, but you have negative self-talk towards things that are involving you. That negative self-talk can include other people in your life, and it can include your work. It can include your job, because, oh my God, I hate my job. Why do I have to keep coming to my job and blah, blah, blah. Like, that's negative self-talk, because none of that shit is getting you where you need to be. None of it. But because the thermostat is cooling you off, it's trying to find anything that it can cling on to. Any way to bring you back down to that basement level. Number 4 on the list, gang, is your excuses become frequent. You begin to make excuses left and right, and your circumstances begin to outweigh your dreams. And you begin to focus more on the external world than your internal world. Realize that the real world is what happens inside. It's never on the outside. So you got to create your own world. Stop making excuses. And last but not least, of signs that self-sabotage is kicking in is the self-sabotaging behaviors begin. You start skipping workouts. You knew yesterday that today you had to go to the gym at 6 a.m., but you still decided to stay up until midnight, and you had a drink at that. And then you woke up this morning, and you woke up at 6. You were supposed to be at the gym, but you woke up at the time you're supposed to be there, and you just laid your tail back down because you need some rest. You start to self-sabotage and be like, damn, not again. But you happy you missed the gym, because if you really wanted to be there, then you would get up right now and you would still make it there. But nah, like, we just succumbed I don't know how the word works, but we succumb to the self-sabotaging behaviors of life. And skipping workouts is an example that I'm pretty sure that the fellas can relate to, because it's something that we don't ever want to do. You know, we get our value from going to the gym. You feel me? We want to go to the gym and feel good and like being that motherfucker, becoming the best version of ourselves. So skipping a workout is our lower level self overpowering who we really know ourselves to be, man. So that's why it's important. Don't skip your workout. Even if you don't make it to the gym, you better get your gym's worth of work in. It's very important. What do we do when we're in a state of self-sabotage? When that thermostat begins to cool us off and it's happening habitually, what do we do? What do we do when just wanting it isn't enough? Wanting it is not helping us. Wanting is no longer helping us get to where we need to be. Wanting it is no longer helping us get to where we need to be. What do we do? What do we do? Because we talk about desire a whole lot, and desire is the first step to getting what you want. But when the desire don't fade, but you're no longer making progress, what do we do? Number 1 on the list of things to do when the desire is not enough, gang, number 1 on that list is we increase our self-awareness, okay? Increasing your level of self-awareness means paying attention to your feelings, paying attention to your impulses, paying attention to your surroundings, paying attention to how you're moving about life. And paying attention doesn't mean that you have to necessarily take action, but it does mean that you're a whole lot more likely to stay on track if you acknowledge that you're falling off track. If you can acknowledge, like, this is not gonna end well for me if I continue it, odds are, I mean, you may not be perfect, you may still go down that path, but the fact that you acknowledged it, it's gonna increase the chances that your higher self will remain in the driver's seat and not allow you to go down the path that you're going down and continue to heat up as opposed to cooling you down. Number 2 is visualize your higher self. This is actually my favorite one. So visualizing your higher self is something that takes time and it takes focus. You need to clear your distractions. When you're visualizing the higher version of yourself and what that life looks like, you don't need these lower level aspects of life coming in between, your vision. And this is why a lot of people aren't able to visualize or practice visualization exercises. It's because they allow distractions to torment them. And they allow these distractions to live rent-free in their minds. You could literally just take 2 minutes. If you could take 2 minutes and eliminate distractions and just visualize your higher self and make it a habit to do that, you're going to get 10 times as far as your average person, because it's not about the quantity, it's about the quality. And if you can give 100% quality to those visualization exercises, you're going to begin to bring that future version of yourself into the present and begin to embody that person. So make sure you practice your visualization, do it every single day, and if you can do it multiple times every single day. Number 3 on the list is to set micro goals. Micro goals basically means just set smaller goals that are going to give you momentum, because eventually the momentum is going to pick up and you're going to be able to bite off a whole lot more than you can bite off right now. But you want to start small. You start with small bites. You build up your appetite for taking action. You build up the appetite for winning, and eventually you can bite off bigger chunks. You feel me? Number 4 is you develop accountability. I know you heard me. You develop you some accountability. Accountability is one of those things that it's funny to me, because what happens when your word ain't bond? When your word don't mean shit because you're so used to lying to yourself, or you're so used to allowing the thermostat to cool off. When your word is no longer bond, what do you do? What do you do? Developing your accountability means that you have to put more on the line than just your word, because eventually you're going to get used to crossing your own self, right? Put your money on the line. Put something on the line that, you cannot lose this. And if you lose it, you're going to be devastated. You got to get some skin in the game. You should always be working at being accountable. Always be working at, it's not a gamble, because you don't want to gamble. I do not believe in gambling. Gambling is just taking a blind risk. But you want to put something on the line and risk losing it. And the only thing that prevents you from losing is you and your actions. So take some time to develop your accountability. Again, money is one of the easiest things to put in place for accountability, because you don't want to lose your money. The odds are you don't even have a lot of money. So when you put what you have on the line, you're so much more likely to come through for yourself. Last but not least, number 5 on the list of ways to prevent or get rid of self-sabotage is to reaffirm your why. Reminding yourself why you're working countless hours. Reminding yourself why you're allowing yourself to feel not so good, but continuing to persevere. Reminding yourself of the person that you are. You just got to get the dust off. Reminding yourself of the life that you'll be able to live when you get to where you want to be. You got to keep on reaffirming your why. When you reaffirm your why, it makes everything worth it. You no longer feel like, man, fuck this, I ain't doing this no more. You no longer have that feeling because it isn't about what you're doing, it's about why you're doing it, right? Now, a marketing term that they use in the restaurant industry is to sell the sizzle, not the steak, right? This is what your why is. Your why is the sizzle. What you're doing is the steak. Focus on your sizzle. Focus on why you're doing this shit. And you need to have multiple reasons why. And you need to have like small reasons why, medium reasons why, and huge reasons as to why you're doing what you're doing. Because what happens when you don't have any small or medium reasons why to fall back on one day? At least you got the big reason. At least you know that retiring your mother is why you're doing this. At least you know that providing your kids or your family a better way of living is the reason you're doing it. And you can persevere, and not persevere like half-assing it, but actually continue to bring your best self to the table through and through, time and time again, because you've reaffirmed your reasons why. Yo, this video has been filled with gems, and understand that self-sabotage is something that's going to take place in your life. It doesn't matter if you're at the bottom or if you make it to the top. Self-sabotage is going to be something that will attack you for the rest of your life. Self-sabotage isn't the problem. The problem arises when you don't know how to handle it. So implement these into your life. You got to identify it before you can make a change. And when you make a change, give yourself the grace. Okay? The only time you can't give yourself grace, or you shouldn't give yourself grace, is if you haven't identified correctly and you haven't done anything to fix your problem. But if you've put your best foot forward, give yourself grace and understand that you are not a higher power. You're just you. And you can only control what you can control. So give yourself grace. Keep on keeping on. Don't fall off the track. And last but not least, gang, really, really remember that why. I'm your boy Fit Like Chris. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe on this video if you fucked with the content, because if you did, man, I can guarantee that you're going places in life. I'm gonna holla at you in the next one.